Well, can you honestly believe that we are over the midway point in the NFL season? So, you know what that means? We will give you our midseason review. MVP, we might be having some new Super Bowl predictions now. Also, all awards. We'll be talking about biggest disappointments, biggest surprises so far in the NFL, and obviously a hectic week in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers not vaccinated. What's going on with that? OBJ, who will he be joining next? And the tragic situation going on with the Vegas Raiders and Henry Ruggs. All next on Keys of the City.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share. Or you can check out the podcast or draw on Twitter. And at Clovercrest Media, you can check out our all-around page, I should say, Clovercrest Media, we're Keys to the City, and many more podcasts, sports, murder mysteries. There's a lot more just than other sports. I know people like podcasts nowadays, so go check out Clovercrest Media as well. A hectic week in the NFL, but it's been that type of season in the NFL. We are here midway point. It is sad to say, but guys, we are in November. Football is flying by. It is tragic to know that football is already at midseason, but we'll give you our midseason review, biggest surprises, biggest disappointments, awards, and hell, we'll give you our Super Bowl, our new look, maybe Super Bowl 56 as well. But I wanted to start off with, before we get into the whole preview or mid-season review, there's been a lot going on in this NFL week. Let's be honest, the NFL dominates sports headlines. It's what everybody talks about, on whether it's on Fox Sports, whether it's on ESPN, whether it's on podcasts, all around. When we think of sports, NFL is the first thing that comes to mind. And it's for situations like that have been going on in this week. And there's other situations in the past for great reasons. But you think about these three issues, or these three situations that are going on currently right now in the NFL. Well, where to start? That's the real question, because these are all three different situations, but all situations that you have to say, well, Aaron Rodgers, not vaccinated. Henry Ruggs, a situation that you don't ever want to see anybody in, player or person. We'll get into that. And the OBJ situation, once again, another meltdown, just like the Giants situation. Now it's in the Cleveland situation. He's going to be released. He will be going to a new team. We don't know where. But, guys, I don't know who. I'll give this to Joe. I'll pass it off to Joe. Joe, honestly, what situation gets you the most, or ones that you actually want to discuss first of all these three situations that's been going on?
I take issue with Aaron Rodgers for purposely being deceptive. And he's been kind of crying about that today. He appealed to the NFL. He apparently is allergic to two of the three vaccines and was uncomfortable with the Johnson & Johnson, which I understand. I'm actually getting a booster shot since I got Johnson & Johnson. Was just notified that I'm eligible. He was clear to say he's not anti-COVID. He believes COVID's a thing, but he believes in bodily autonomy, and that's fine. But then you have to wear a mask. Do like Carson Wentz does and act like a grown-up and be a responsible adult. He doesn't think he should wear a mask if there's a room full of reporters that have been vaccinated. We, the vaccinated, don't want to get whatever you're carrying. See, we could still get it. It's not going to kill us, won't hospitalize us, but we could pass it along to our kids or to our parents. And so, no thanks. So wear your goddamn mask. That's not asking much. I know he thinks he's like Joe Hollywood or whatever, but I don't know. You're still kind of a bum quarterback at Green Bay with one Super Bowl. So slow your roll, Johnny.
Here we go.
My situation that I go ahead. You seem like you want to finish.
I was going to say, as far as Henry Ruggs, I like Henry Ruggs a lot. And I get what David Carr was saying. This is so unfortunate. This guy's got to live with the worst mistake of his life for the rest of his life. And it's a bad one. And nothing's gone right in Las Vegas lately as far as the Raiders are concerned. Terribly tragic situation. Obviously, your thoughts and prayers and condolences to that woman's family. You mentioned it before we went on, Trav, the idea of, this guy's family was set for life, generational wealth. This is what Black Americans, this is what kind of gets the playing field level. And that's a major setback for the Ruggs family. And that's really unfortunate. And as for Odell Beckham Jr., I don't know who's going to take a flyer on him, probably the Buccaneers. Or,
No, they don't have
the Cowboys, somebody who likes these idiots to come, I think the worst thing that could happen is OBJ goes to the Rams or somewhere and he wins a Super Bowl like Brown did last year. And then all of a sudden everybody forgets what a scumbag loser this guy's become. And it's unfortunate because I used to really be a big fan of him. I wouldn't want the Giants to sign him in a million years. I wouldn't be interested in seeing him back on this team. I really am no interest in it. The Giants have plenty of receivers. I'd rather see CJ Board out there at wide receiver than Odell Beckham. And this is somebody who 2 years ago was still freaking out about this trade. So
bring him home, Joe. Bring him home. Bring him home where he belongs. This is where it all started.
Why would he want to go? Why would he want to go to a rebuild? Give me a break.
Listen, bring him home. The Giants actually don't have really the much. The Giants really listen. The Giants really
They're at the bottom. They're at the bottom.
First of all, the Giants could go get him. That would be a sleeper team, but likely not because of the cap space. It has nothing to do with him and the Giants. It has to do with the cap space. Okay, they'd have to make some maneuvering with his $9.5 million by him wavering the money. With the OBJ thing, we kind of always knew this was never going to really work from day one when he got traded. Now the trade that Gettleman does make is even better because it never worked for Cleveland. Really, it hasn't really worked for the Giants either. O'Shane Himes or whatever his name from Old Dominion, he hasn't really done it.
Yeah.
Who cares? It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You know why it doesn't matter? Because if he was good enough, I would have known his name. But he really hasn't played on the field, and he hasn't really been a productive. And I believe that he's the idiot that was offsides this week against the Chiefs, number 53. So now I really don't want to know his name. Dexter Lawrence, not bad, pretty good player, number 17. Jabril Peppers has been good, but now, of course, he got hurt this season. Unfortunate, of course, in his last season. Who knows if the Giants are going to re-sign him coming off the injury. Beckham's a great player. Okay, we know his talent. He's not what he ever was with the Giants because he doesn't have Eli Manning. But the Browns never used him the way he should have. The one time they did use him against the Cowboys, I believe last year, he had an unbelievable game. But he wasn't the right fit for Cleveland. He was too big of a superstar to be in Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield and the Browns are a run-based team, play action and when you have guys like Jarvis Landry and other guys, you don't need a guy like Beckham. I could see a Beckham going to teams like the Saints. The Patriots need a big-time receiver. And go leading into the next topic is the Las Vegas Raiders. They just lost a big-time playmaker. What better team to fit the aura of Las Vegas than Odell Beckham Jr.? Big superstar, Las Vegas, big lights. They need a big-time receiver to complement Darren Waller. Listen, they got a great record right now. They're right there for the AFC lead. So he can help them win. He can help them win. And Derek Carr is a much better quarterback than Baker Mayfield and can use him. The Ruggs thing, very sad situation. Joe, you said it perfectly. It's a sad situation for everyone. You got a young gentleman, Ruggs, and I think he's a good guy. Everything you kind of read about him, he's not a bad – now, listen, another thing, he had a loaded gun in the car, But listen, I'm not like that white guy that just goes like, I can't comprehend it. These guys also come from neighborhoods where this was like, this is normal day life. You know what I mean? With guns and things and whatnot. And so I can understand. And listen, people have guns nowadays. People carry guns. Now, hopefully he had his pistol permit with him, and that's acceptable. But going 156 miles an hour on a local street, you're drinking and driving. You read about that the NFL has a program where you can get free rides home. Like you make $4 million, you can have Ubers, there's Lyfts, Derek Carr said, you could have just called me, woke me up at 3:30 in the morning. It's, when I look at that, and I've made my own mistakes and I haven't done anything stupid, but you look in the mirror and you're like, thank God, you do. It's unfortunate. You got a young, great player, and he just ruined his life, his family's life, and now that other family's life. That young girl who was 23 years old with her dog. We're dog people too. Just unfortunate in a way. The whole thing transpired. I mean, you see the TMZ video. Just very upsetting. The Rodgers thing, whatever. He is Aaron Rodgers. I'm not surprised by anything. He got COVID. He lied, whatever. I mean, this is a guy that was pondering retirement on and off during the offseason. I think the Packers knew what was going on. They just had to baby him, let him go because, they're 7-1. He's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, keep the guy happy, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Certain people get certain privileges and other people do. That's the way of the world. Unfortunately, it's going to affect them this week. And all three of these guys are going to affect their teams in some negative manner. But it's just a negative week in the sense of the NFL, what's transpired with the Ruggs early this week, the Rodgers thing. And then, of course, OBJ now, the way it went down. It's an ugly situation. But the NFL, you'll watch Sunday and we'll have all great games and everyone will forget about it by the end of next week.
That's what happens. You have great stories that come from the NFL. And then, like this week, you have stories that's on more of the negative side, the bad that you see that comes sometimes with the NFL. The OBJ situation, I said this a couple of weeks ago when I joined Joan about the G-Men. I said the Green Bay Packers should be flying to a phone or getting a hold of Odell Beckham's agent and making this possible. You have one last run in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. Who knows where they're going to be next year? Might as well go stack up on a team that's already competing for a top seed in the NFC. Might as well go get a playmaker. You can add to that impressive offense. You're going to get David Bakhtiari back. You have Aaron Jones. You got A.J. Dillon. You got Devontae, Lazard. You have all these weapons. Just go add another player. He should, if he's smart, should go to a contender and not.
He doesn't have a choice, though.
I know. He doesn't have a choice, obviously. But if he could, I hope he's more thinking about contending than just worrying about getting passes to him. That's it. But with the way he's been passed, I know how talented he is, extremely talented. But I know he's a head case, and he comes with some kind of baggage, and it's more about the drama. It's not anything else. It's just the drama. His father coming out, LeBron, free Odell, both of you. Shut the F up. Shut up.
There was a lot of NBA guys.
That's what I say. Oh, yeah, like he didn't know his father or LeBron James, one of his good friends, or his father was going to post something. Give me a break. It's just him hiding his – come on, we all know he had something to do with it, and he hasn't said anything. Yeah. It's just an ongoing mess, just like at the end of the New York Giants tenure, it was a mess. Now it's at the end of the Cleveland Browns tenure, it ends in a mess again. So anybody that wants to go pick him up, good luck to him. Talented, but a head case. The Ruggs situation, it's just tragic. It's honestly just the definition of just a tragic story. And what makes this story even worse is that 5 years ago, Henry Ruggs' best friend, and let me get his name right, I think it was Rod Scott, died in a car accident, got killed by a drunk driver as well. So we think about this situation, just all around. And I've said this before, just call somebody. I've been in this situation that I have drank and drive, but I have never gotten to the point where I was that bad. Like if I can't drive, I will never drive. If I'm not well enough to not drive, I will not drive because I'm not putting my life at risk. I'm not endangering someone else's risk either. And to see him with everything that was going for him, he was a first-round pick. He was playing for the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that was contending, and to just throw it all away on a tragic mistake, a horrible decision on his part. It's just honestly sad because he's not a guy that comes with baggage. He's not a bad person. He just made an awful, awful mistake. And just call somebody. Just call somebody. If you need help, call somebody. Somebody will come help you. Somebody will. Derek Carr, somebody will come get you. You'd rather have that situation. And the whole Rodgers situation, honestly, I mean, also to the family of the young woman, just awful. 3:40 in the morning, and to know that your daughter is never coming home again because of a situation that I couldn't even imagine. I can't. So it's an all-around horrible situation for the Raiders that's been continuing to happen in the past month or so. And then the Rodgers situation, I'm not surprised because it's Aaron Rodgers. He's always been that type of player. The rebel goes against everybody, and he is doing something once again that's being rebel. But like Joe said, just be smart. You know the rules. Don't break the rules. Carson Wentz isn't vaccinated. He was wearing a mask. Kirk Cousins isn't vaccinated. I'm pretty sure he's wearing a mask. Those are some of the quarterbacks that I know of. So just wear a mask. If you don't want to be vaccinated, that's fine. Just know the rules, don't break them, and just wear a mask. But he is being a rebel. He's being his typical Aaron Rodgers self, and it's just showing why he's a polarizing athlete in the world of sports. That's what it comes down to.
Trev and Joe. Joe, you ever seen the movie Liar Liar?
Yeah.
Remember? And he grabs the phone. Stop breaking the law.
Yeah, that's it. Stop breaking the law. That's what he's doing. Stop breaking the law. Just be smart, man. Stop making dumb decisions.
It came to my head. Like,
stop making a dumb decision because you know who knows what comes from this? Who knows? But you know the rules for it. You know what they put into play going into this whole year. So just follow it. That's all I got to say. I don't care if he's not vaccinated. If he's not, he's not. If he is, he is. Okay. But let's not make this a political side. It's just him being Aaron Rodgers and being a rebel like his typical self. Let's get over to what we're here for too as well. We're here to talk about the midseason of the NFL season. And it's been a fantastic season. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of surprises, a lot of disappointments. And that's how we're going to start off. We're going to get into the surprises and disappointments because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are some disappointments, even though this season has been great, a lot of great play, but a lot of disappointments, a lot of surprises in the sense of the bads, in a bad way too. We could say surprises on both a good and a bad way because there are some surprises in the sense of a negative way. But we're going to start off with the surprises and the disappointments. Who wants to go first?
Oh, me.
You want to go first? We'll start off with because we always want our good. We like our desserts. Well, Ted especially. So we'll go with Ted's surprises. There's 3 surprises: the Cardinals, Raiders, and Bengals. Honestly, I have no issue with any one of these 3.
Well, there should be an issue, but when we say surprises, at least say these are teams that because we got surprised and disappointed. Surprised are teams that we
all projected these
would be
dead last.
Well, not wouldn't be dead last, but would be at the lower of the pack, and they have all, I believe, for my sake, all these 3 teams have overachieved from where, especially now. All these 3 teams are.
Did we all have? Let me ask you. Did we have Arizona in last place in the NFC West? I think you had them in 3rd. Who'd you have last? San Fran?
No, I think I did have the Cardinals last. Yeah, the Cardinals last. I had San Fran. I believe finished.
I think we all 3 of these guys, all 3 of these teams. Joe, I know you like the.
I
Raiders.
had the Bengals.
I had the Raiders. I had the Raiders as the 6th seed, just ahead of the Chargers.
You know what? And now I remember because I had Denver over the Chargers. If you remember in my playoff thing, I had the Chiefs, Denver, Chargers, Raiders. So I had all 3 of these teams finishing last in the division. I just thought the Raiders were going to be the least productive team with that division. I just thought the Denver, the way I watched their defense, I thought would propel them. I thought Teddy Bridgewater would give them a balance. I didn't think they would have the rash of injuries. And with
funny,
the receiver.
Ted, you had Arizona in the playoffs.
Who?
Arizona. Oh, Joe had Arizona and the Raiders in the playoffs. So this is not a surprise.
So for me, these are my 3 biggest surprises. And you look at these teams, all 3 of these teams, well, except for the Raiders, 2 of the 3, Bengals and Cardinals have led the conference, which is surprising. Very surprising, especially the Bengals and Raiders. And then the Cardinals, I believe, especially they have overachieved, and the way they have achieved because we weren't sure if this offense with Cliff Kingsbury was going to work, and it's working really well, and they're very productive. And you know what else? Their defense is good too. So for me, these 3 teams right now are the biggest surprises in how well they are playing, and I think all 3 of these teams could and should make the playoffs.
To be fair, I also didn't think the Cardinals or Raiders would be or leading or win their division. So I just thought these were teams that were getting closer. Mm-hmm. And I completely underestimated the Bengals. I think I only admitted about a week ago that they were for real.
And then what did they do?
They lost to the Jets to make me look like a genius. So, yeah. But yeah, no, this is a good list. This is definitely a good list.
So I'm not going to put up my list because it's the same 3 teams. I would realistically, when I think of the surprises, these 3 teams have been excellent. Cliff Kingsbury and that offense is clicking. Losing J.J. Watt could be an impactful loss down the line, but
I was surprised they didn't make a move.
We'll see how that plays out. The Raiders, I mean, Derek Carr, I can't talk enough about Derek Carr's leadership. For a guy that just doesn't get talked enough about, Derek Carr is completely, and if he's still getting considered underrated, then shame on them, because this guy's gotten better every year, and we don't talk enough about him. It's because he's playing for the Raiders, but now we're starting to get his attention. He's starting to get the attention that he deserves because they're playing at a high level. And then the Bengals, good for the Bengals, just because. Hold on, Joe. You go. Wait, teachers.
I was just gonna say I actually was on.
Teacher's got to finish her point.
No, I was just gonna say before you move on. I was one of the few people last year who thought Derek Carr had sort of turned a corner. And
I love Derek Carr.
I will say I was definitely right about that. That does feel good to see.
Yeah,
but I was wrong about Burrow and Herbert. So one out of three isn't good.
You got to be right about something, right? And then the Bengals, like you said about Burrow and that team. I know they had a terrible loss against the Jets, but they're a young team. They're going to be fine. The future looks bright in Cincinnati if they can continue to roll. If they can add to that offensive line, add some more pieces on the defense, because they really don't need offensive weapons. They have a plethora of it, so they're pretty freaking good on that side. Just add some players, and you'll be contending in the AFC North for quite some time. I'm going to go to Joe's most surprising, because he has it something different. And his number one, Ted, look at his number one most surprising. He put a player in, and he put Matthew Stafford. And I'm curious, we want to know, we already put the Cardinals and Raiders because we all three have each of them in. Curious why Matthew Stafford is the number one most surprising player / team
to me, right? I mean, before the season, I doubted the guy. I wasn't sure how good he was going to be, whether things were going to click. Teddy was pretty confident in him. I would say he's played even better than Ted thought he was going to play. That's how good Matthew Stafford's been. You didn't think he was going to be this good. Stop it.
Oh, bro.
He's
Joe,
way good.
I was talking about him for a month, and you were like, I got to see it. I was like, Joe, I was like, 45.
Hold on. He's so good. I mean, Detroit sucks with Goff.
Joe,
holy smokes. And I said to you when the trade happened, I don't think it's much of an upgrade. Look at the way these two teams have,
7-1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they couldn't be a. Wow.
The only reason why I would say this, and can I spoil a little something?
No, I don't want you to spoil.
Let me spoil my MVP.
No, I don't. Fine, whatever.
Real quick, Detroit wouldn't be 0-8 if Matthew Stafford was there.
Absolutely not. They'd have at least 2 wins.
They'd have at least 2 or 3 wins by now.
Joe, I have Matthew Stafford as my MVP, Joe. That's how confident I am. Do you realize he's in top 3 quarterback rankings for passing yardage, yards per attempt, touchdown passes, passer rating, and QBR? And they have the best record in the NFC.
Well, I hate to spoil this thing too, but I also picked him as the MVP.
No, you did not.
I did.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh my God, you guys did.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's, like I said, to me, he's outplayed what I thought the best case scenario would be at the halfway point.
And here's the thing, to make my point going forward, is Tom Brady went to a new team too, and we knew Tom Brady was great. But he wasn't great with them this quick, this easily with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And it wasn't like he had to propel them. They had all the talent there, similar to the Rams too. But to see what Matthew Stafford has done to them, he has propelled them wholeheartedly to another level. And I mean, you just look at them. You look at the Rams when they go off and look at Stafford in 2 different spectrums, bro. It's like black and white, and then now we got color. Like he has uplifted them to a whole nother level. We were wondering if Cam Akers' injury was going to affect them, put more pressure on Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Darnell Henderson's been pretty damn good.
It's definitely put more pressure on him, and he just responded to it by being even better. That's how good he is. You were right. I was wrong.
Now, here's the thing. This is the midseason report card, so how does he finish? Because he's only been to the playoffs once.
So my question was, for like people that were looking at the information about this show, what this episode was going to be, I pretty much just said which quarterback wins MVP. That's what it's going to come down to. It's just which quarterback do you really feel is going to win, because there's
Derrick Henry's out.
Derrick Henry, him losing, being out for the year, damn, that puts a major damper on that Tennessee Titans team as a whole. But there's about 6 or 7, maybe 8 quarterbacks that legitimately have a shot to win an MVP this year, and that's the crazy part. And you don't see anybody else. I don't see no receivers or running backs other than Derrick Henry, who was the only other player. But also,
Trev, can I say one thing before you go on? The only thing I would say is that's similar to what the Heisman Trophy presentation has come to every year.
I don't know. Maybe this year will be different.
No, probably, maybe. We don't even know.
I don't know. Kenneth Walker right now would be my odds-on favorite to win the Heisman.
But they still have to play.
They have to continue to win.
We
will talk college football soon.
Give Bryce Young 5 more games. He'll get it. Don't you sweat it.
Oh, here we go. Another. Yeah, I forgot. Here we go. His
the
Alabama
SEC award. Stop it.
His Alabama love. There we go. His affection for Alabama. But also, with the good, what comes with the good comes with the bad also. And that's what's going on in the NFL too, because yes, there has been some exceptional play, but there's also been some disappointments. And some teams, I'm looking at them right now. Let's see. I'm going to start off with Ted because Ted has probably the different one out of us three. I'm going to go with this one just because I want my explanation.
And that is exactly the ranking I would have. I didn't have numbers in front of them like Joe did.
That's fine.
The Browns easily because listen, when we did this, they were Super Bowl caliber, right? We when we went through the rosters, it was like other than the Bucs, we didn't feel that there was any team more talented. And you think
right. So here's how it is. We both had. I'm looking at because I still have the preview.
When you say
we still have the Chiefs over the Browns. That was our preseason AFC title game. Joe had Chiefs over Bills. Just wanted to say that.
So the Browns easily right now. Now let me
clarify that.
Now we're not going to talk about games today, but you think about the game this weekend, the Bengals-Browns game. The Browns lose, they go to 4-5. Bengals lose, they're back to 5-4. So, or they're 6-3. Whole different spectrum of where you're at. I mean, for these two teams, maybe no bigger game for either team, because I think if the Bengals lose, they fall back to where we think they will be, and who knows what happens with Cleveland, especially with Baker Mayfield. And then, if the Browns win, it's like, all right, the Browns can maybe build some momentum here, especially once they start getting their players back down the line. The Redskins, they have been awful. People are talking about this front seven and this defense like they were the steel.
Who's the Redskins?
Oh, my God. Ted put the Redskins. Oh, I didn't even notice that. My apologies.
Sorry, Joe. I don't put no.
I don't want to. We don't want to offend people here. We
don't watch the show. Go home and go to church and pray.
Yeah, go home and go to church because you're all so good and perfect too. So we're keeping up the Redskins.
So and you know what? They deservedly saw a call of the Redskins because they stink. I mean, their defense has been one of the worst defenses in football this year.
Are you saying Native Americans don't smell good? No, I'm just kidding.
Joe, you really?
Oh my God, Joe! No,
I was going with the name that stinks and it's offensive, and their defense and team is offensive. They were talking about this front seven like they were the steel curtains team of the 70s.
I'm going to change
this. Stop.
Unbelievable,
Dude,
Joe.
what are you doing here?
Me, I have to just change it. I don't want to offend people.
Okay, and the other team, and the third team was.
But it also is their real name, so we have to actually. Listen,
and the other team was the Dolphins. We all, I believe, at least believe that the Dolphins, if not a playoff team, would have been close to a playoff team again. And they have been awful. Defensively, they have way underachieved. Their defense has gotten tremendously worse. They have issues with their best cornerback in Xavier Howard. Tua, every week it's a question as if he's going to get traded away for someone. And then they have no running game. They have no passing game. And if they're lucky to have one win against the Patriots. Right now, they could be winless. This is a team that a lot of people had going into the playoffs and making that next step.
You know what makes it even worse? They don't even have their first-round pick. That's the Eagles' pick.
I would flip to 3. I would go Dolphins, Washington, Browns, but great list.
Yeah, I think it's a good list too because the Browns obviously they were Super Bowl caliber. The football team we all thought they could be the favorite in the NFC East, and with that defense line that was supposed to be the best in the game, they really have struggled. They've taken a drastic step backwards.
This is why
the way that Dallas's defense played last year, you see that Dallas's defense has definitely improved throughout this entire season. Washington has gone completely backwards, and the Dolphins, good God Almighty, they're back to being the Miami Dolphins. They have one good year. They don't know how to handle it. They've handled this whole Tua situation awful, and they have continued to just give this guy no chance. I know he's been up and down, but they're giving him no chance to succeed. I don't have this. I think this is a really great list, actually, all around, Ted. I want to go to Joe's because Joe's list, obviously, Joe's is always a different one, and I'm always like, why, Joe? So I want to – this is what Joe had, Chiefs, Giants, and Jets. He has 2 teams that were projected to be god-awful.
Yeah, but not really. Not really.
Chiefs, obviously, we understand.
Slow down and allow me to explain.
Oh, God.
The Chiefs, obviously, for very obvious reasons. I mean, nobody expected this, and they're a really bad football team.
They're not a good team. Yeah.
And I would say the Giants, from the standpoint of, I think that we all thought the defense was respectable, and it was a matter of whether the offense could hang. And even as bad as the offensive line's been, it's done a good job. So it's almost hard to even understand why this team is as bad as this team is.
I could roll with the Giants on Joe's thing just because of the talent, too, that they got in the offseason. Barkley, Galladay, Tony, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Daniel Jones' 4th year. You figured that at least 20-plus points. You figured the defense was going to play as well as it did, and they'd be at least competing for the division. I get the Giants pick. Joe, the Jets pick, though, you got to explain.
The Jets, I have to hear this.
Hold on. And maybe I should have been more specific. Zach Wilson.
You did have in your top 10 players facing the most pressure this coming season, so you
didn't play well when he was in there. Now he's hurt. You saw Josh Johnson light it up. Matt White light it up. What's wrong with Zach Wilson? Yeah. What's wrong with Zach Wilson? Was it a mistake dealing Darnold and drafting Zach Wilson when, again, this team maybe had more pressing needs?
I think the bigger mistake for the teams that passed up, like the 49ers or the Jets, why did you pass up either Fields or Mac Jones?
I think the Jets made a big mistake with this, and look, it's clear the last couple of weeks that he's just not doing a good job at all. He's really not taking to the NFL at all. You're not seeing any of the things that made him special at BYU. None of it. Yep. And again, you could say, well, the offense. You just saw a lifetime third stringer throw for a career high in yardage, and you saw Matt White 2 weeks ago set an NFL record for a guy off the street. So
yeah, who would have thought in week 8
the Jets clearly they clearly don't know how to evaluate talent at all. Sam Darnold was never the problem. To me, I think the Jets have taken a giant step backwards.
So here's my
the guy that they probably wanted and needed to be their starter has been on the roster the whole time. That's embarrassing.
So here's what I'll say about this. I don't think.
And real quick, time out. I was really, when I was thinking about disappointments, I was like, what team was supposed to be good other than the Chiefs? I didn't even think of the Dolphins, Ted. That was the one I mean, obviously that's a team that should have been, we would have thought 5-2 at this point. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But for me, I really like that Jets pick just because I think as a franchise, this was a huge mistake by them.
Here's my thing about the Jets. I think Darnold is not a good enough quarterback, and I think we're seeing that in Carolina too. I mean, he's gotten his opportunity to play with talented players now, and I still think he's just not – I don't think he's good enough to succeed in this league. I think he's going to be a backup for the time being. But it's fascinating to know who would have thought in Week 8 the leading passer in the NFL would be Mike White throwing for 400 yards. It's fascinating that what you can see from an any given Sunday type game. It's just the way it works in the NFL. Zach Wilson – I mean, I said they should have drafted Justin Fields. Don't know if he would have been better in the situation that the Jets are in right now because they are god-awful. They're not a good team for some reason.
But Mike White just threw for 400 yards with the same talent, and Josh Johnson
maybe Justin Fields would have been up for
327 yards and 3 touchdowns. And if it wasn't for a deflection late in the fourth quarter, they were about to score again and make it a 6-point game.
It's fascinating.
I mean, I know the Colts were playing, they were up huge and they were kind of playing like just give up chunk of yards, but you still got to produce. And Zach Wilson couldn't produce anything. And now
that's why I said I think the game that really opened my eyes up last year for Zach Wilson was the big game last year, late in the season, that classic between BYU and Coastal Carolina. And I really saw how Coastal Carolina really exposed and opened my eyes up of seeing Zach Wilson, because people were like, Zach Wilson, this kid's gonna be great. He's got everything you want: strong arm, the big playability, and the crazy type arms like Mahomes. And then he played a team like Coastal Carolina, who didn't get the respect last year for obvious reasons because they were a no name, but they played great defense and they exposed them in a way. And that was a game that was like, I think Zach Wilson, it would probably be best if he came back. And for him to come out, he thinking about the money, and you're going to be a top 3 pick because you're a quarterback and you're going to New York. You might be right, Joe. I think that's an all-time. Maybe we'll see. We don't know yet because it's still so early It's still so early in the season, or in his career, I should say, that we still don't know yet. But right now,
hold on. You interrupt me.
It's off to a rocky start.
You interrupted me when I was like mid-conversation. I just stopped. But, you might go look back again in 3 or 4 years and go, well, so we passed up on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, but we took Sam Darnold. We traded 3 second-round picks to go get Sam Darnold. And then now we took Josh Allen, and we might look back and like, oh, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and, we don't know anything about Trey Lance.
Well, if they're Josh Allen right now, I think they'd be pretty good. But anyways.
Here's the other thing, though. We always have to consider this when we make these statements about quarterbacks, is look at the organizations. To look at Mac Jones and say, oh, he was the best quarterback coming out, not necessarily. If you look at the
best situation.
The situation, the teams, what team provides these young quarterbacks the best situation to succeed early? If you look at the Patriots and Mac Jones, to see that they got a pretty good offensive line, an above average offensive line. They run the football very well. They run play action very well. They have a coach and an offensive coordinator that understands how to progress with a quarterback. You start slow. They were making fun. Remember his first 3 games, his average pass was like 3.5 yards.
They have a
coordinator. But now listen, they get a little bit better and a little bit better. And by the end of the season, if they get a guy like Odell Beckham, you're gonna start seeing his numbers even more so progress.
Do you know what makes Mac Jones great and why? Because of the fact that Bill Belichick, and why he always does it, and Josh McDaniels, they utilize Mac Jones' strengths. That's what they do. They're doing that.
I don't know. I want to also point out, this is important, that Mac Jones actually does have a lot of skills. He has a lot of skills to be utilized. This guy's been sold short. This guy's been sold short over and over and over and over again. The 2 things that stand out most about him and did in college was his smarts and the fact that this guy's got accuracy like that's off the charts. Those are 2 great things that you need in the NFL. Again, he doesn't have a better arm than a lot of these guys. He's not faster or more athletic, but there's a certain couple of tangibles this guy has that the others don't. That's the reason why they've been able to turn things around. I think it's funny. Everybody that was making fun of Mac Jones 2-3 weeks ago, now everyone's calling the Patriots a wild card contender. Like Mac Jones isn't the reason that happened.
Jeff, 1 second. If you saw Joe Montana on College Football Live earlier this week, he said that he thinks the 49ers made a mistake on taking Trey Lance over Mac Jones. Now, he also said, though, understandably so, we don't know what Trey Lance is going to be because he hasn't been on the field. But at least looking at it right now in 2020 vision is Mac Jones looks like the better quarterback. And he said because he came from a pro system and he played in the SEC and the ability to process things very quickly and understand the game. And people don't look at that because you can't account for that, how well guys process plays and how they handle composure. You can't read composure. You can't chart composure. You can't know how a guy is going to do on 3rd and 5 when 85,000 people and you have 2 rush ends coming at you. How is he able to process?
I'm glad you brought up the 49ers, because forget about my other 2, because obviously you guys already spun. The reason I'm putting the 49ers, I was very high on the 49ers.
You had them in the NFC Championship game.
If anybody remembers, I had the 49ers playing in the NFC title game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I picked them because I felt like this team last year, seeing the way that team got decimated with injuries, I really felt like, okay, they'll be fine because nobody was really playing and everybody was out. Well, we're playing this year, and we are midway over the season, and they are one of the bottom teams of the league right now, and they do not look like a good football team. They have the talent. That defense has been awful. Their quarterback situation. Jimmy G He's done with. I don't care. You could go trade for him. Another team go trade for him. You're not going to get much better than what he is currently right now. He's just not a good quarterback. If he can't flourish in Kyle Shanahan's offense, I don't think he's going to flourish in any type of offense, because that is one of the better offensive game plans, schemes in all of the NFL. I love that offense. Trey Lance, it's an all-time question, just like the Zach Wilson. We'll never know. We don't know yet. But the only thing I got to say is he's been out more than he's actually played this year. That's all I'm trying to say. He's been injured, and it's a pick that we don't know what's going to happen. Right now, that's a team that I was very high on coming into the season. I thought they could be like the Cardinals are this year. That's how I felt the 49ers were going to be. How the Cardinals are playing is how I felt the 49ers would be coming into the season. I couldn't be more wrong from the truth. That is my biggest disappointment. The Browns and Chiefs, I don't need no explanation. You already heard the other two here from us. We don't need to explain anymore. That's my biggest three disappointments from so far in the first half.
Trev, can I tell you, and I didn't even think about it now. I'm listening to your statement about the 49ers. I can totally agree. You look at this team, you had them in the NFC Championship game. I think me and Joe had them all in the playoffs too. I think all three of us had three NFC West teams in the playoffs. One sort of, I think we all had Seattle, Rams, and 49ers.
And the 49ers. Joe had the 49ers. Yes, we all had the 49ers. So, Joe had them at the 5 seed. Joe had them at the 5 seed. You had them at the 5 seed. I had them at the 6 seed.
So with that being said, this is also an issue that the 49ers are going to have to face. You need to put Trey Lance in there sooner than later, because by not playing him, this is another year of eligibility that you lose. And that means next year becomes his rookie season if he doesn't play. And, you're kind of in a win mode now. You got guys to win. You got Bosa, and you got this D-line. You have people, personnel.
You have to win with the way that division's playing.
And you're right. Jimmy G is an issue. You know what I was going to just call him? Teddy Bridgewater Jr. Great quarterbacks. Or not great quarterbacks. Great guys that are backup quarterbacks. They're great backups, but when you were ranked quarterbacks, for starters, they're in the lower half of the quarterback. And that's the difference in this league. Look at the teams that are successful and look at their quarterbacks, right? Trevor, you look at the teams that are progressing. Look at the quarterbacks. The Bengals, Joe Burrow. I think if Joe Burrow's on the Browns, the Browns might be a little bit different. The difference in hitting on a quarterback between being average and being good to great is the difference between being 8-8 or being a playoff team regularly. Because all the top teams and all the guys that we're going to mention for MVP are all above great average quarterbacks. They're above average. They're top 10 quarterbacks. They're top 12 quarterbacks. They're winning programs. They're teams that you don't question their teams because of their quarterback that they have, except for the Seattle Seahawks, but that's because Russell Wilson is hurt.
Joe, did you want to say anything?
No, you know what? Again, as I think about your list, I wish I had thought about the Dolphins and the Niners.
Quick question.
Niners, Dolphins, Chiefs are great.
So if we had to put our three minds together, what do you think our three teams should be?
Dolphins,
the Browns, Chiefs, and the third one could be a toss-up because the Browns and Chiefs
I think the Chiefs out because the Chiefs will be fine. I think it's got to be more the 49ers.
Hold on. So fine. When you declare fine, what do you mean by fine? Because when I think of disappointment,
they're going to end up winning their division. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be a 3 or 4 seed. They'll probably make a run at the end of the day.
And it still will be a disappointment because they were the odds-on Super. They were the odds-on Super Bowl favorites.
Okay, I got you, but the Browns are probably not going to make the playoffs. The Dolphins are going to be not going to have a top 5 pick, even though they would be. You know what I mean? Washington was supposed to win the division; they might be a top 10 pick. And then Joe's team. It's really Joe. It's not the Joe. It's the Jets and the organization of mismanagement of quarterbacks.
I would say the 49ers are more of a disappointment than the Jets. But I think the Zach Wilson is right now so far has been
definitely like 49ers, definitely like the Dolphins a lot. The Dolphins have been, like you said, awful.
49ers,
Niners, massive disappointment. Browns and again, I think the Chiefs are in more trouble than you're giving them credit for.
Yeah,
here's the thing: they're going to win this week. They're going to beat. They're
going to beat Green Bay.
They'll beat Green Bay. They'll beat Green Bay. No Rodgers. They'll beat Green Bay. They'll beat Green Bay. And this is a win that we thought they would lose. Then they
should have lost to the Giants. They're not a good football team. They're not a good.
But a win's a win. They'll find a way to win.
I hope Jordan Love throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Well, he is playing against that defense, so he has.
That way they can get Mike White's crappy jersey out of that Hall of Fame and replace it with the Love jersey.
Get the Love Master. So let's get into our awards. And I wanted to hold on before I put this up. We put in. So me and Joe, and I think Ted would have agreed, the Offensive Player of the Year. This is only mid-season. So we put in King Henry because he has been – I'm going to speak for me as well as Joe. We both have him as Offensive Player of the Year because he has been the
why
best.
Are you talking in Joe's list?
Because me and him both had Derrick Henry, so I'm just putting
that out. You didn't have the MVP. He could explain.
Can you shut up?
Well, he could explain himself. Why you go right into the
okay, but I'm speaking because we both had it, and I didn't want people to be like, "Well, Derrick Henry's not
the Offensive Player of the Year."
Shut up.
I'll mute you.
I'll just turn you off, bro. I have the power to just get rid of you, so don't play that game with me.
And your ratings will go down.
I doubt that. Anyways, remember, it's me. I'm the one.
Dude, you understand? People watch to see me be a clown on the show.
Why do you want to be a clown?
For Shannon Sharp. I'm Skip Bayless.
Yeah, people hate Shannon. It's Skip Bayless.
He gets paid.
And so does Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp's the man.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Listen, I mean, Derrick Henry, even though he's going to miss the rest of the season, I think his numbers amongst running backs will still be really good. You know what I mean? He's going to do better than some guys who start 17 games this year.
I actually love Joe's list. The only thing I have different on my list, and Chev, if you don't want to get deep into mine too, because I'm pretty much the exact same as Joe's, is Defensive Player of the Year. I had Diggs right now, but I had Myles Garrett close second.
My only thing for Offensive Player of the Year, the only person I would have considered for Offensive Player of the Year right now is Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor.
Who?
He's going to be the lead.
He's the offensive player?
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor has been. Yeah,
dude, Cooper Kupp, bro.
Or Cooper Kupp. Those would be my two options. Jonathan Taylor's going to lead the league in rushing. He's been on a tear right now. Derrick Henry losing him. That's just unfortunate for the NFL.
Because he probably would have had 2,000 yards again, but he probably would have had 20 touchdowns, and I think he was on pace for 400 plus carries, which no one's done that since Larry Johnson for the Chiefs.
Not just for the Titans, but for the NFL to lose a player like King Henry is a big deal. So, Joe, I do like this list. I'm surprised. I mean, Matthew Stafford, Stafford, Kingsbury, Dak. I mean, yeah.
I only have one different thing, and it was the coach too. I had Matt LaFleur, but pretty much the same exact list as Joe's. Jamar Chase. Go ahead. So what we got, Trev? So you got Josh Allen.
I had Josh Allen in the beginning of the year too, and I'm sticking with that.
Derrick Henry, I agree with. TJ Watt, he's been playing great.
I picked him in the beginning of the year too, sticking with him.
Jamar Chase. Did any of you guys think about any other rookie other than Jamar Chase?
For my Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have 3 options, and I think it's the easy 3. It's Jamar, it's Najee, and it's Mac Jones. Those are the 3 guys right there. And I feel like if Jamar's going to continue to do his thing. Najee's been playing really well. That offensive line's been playing well, so he can really get back into it. And if Mac Jones leads the Patriots to the playoffs, how can you not seriously consider him to win Rookie of the Year?
Too many Mac Jones haters. That's how.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Guess what?
If you guys remember, I have Mac.
I was one of them.
I had Mac Jones leading the Patriots to the playoffs. If you guys remember,
I was one of them. I wasn't a big
Don't forget, this guy had the Heisman Trophy stolen from him in the last 3 weeks of the season, despite throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in every game. Imagine somehow he went from being the guy to even dropping somehow behind Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
in that Heisman. I mean, what an all-time joke.
Well, come on, Joe. You know what
the hate on Mac Jones is strong, and so there's no way he's going to win the Rookie of the Year.
I can understand the reasoning behind that, because when you look at his team, Najee Harris, and we know when Najee Harris, look what he's doing in the NFL. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. I mean, he had his offensive line won the award for best offensive line. They had a solid defense, the best coach of the year. So when you're looking at it, you're like, man, this guy's got it all.
But you know what? Tua and Jalen Hurts had basically the same team And look at these two guys in the NFL compared to Mac. It's
Here's-
not even close.
Well, here, can I tell you? I would ask you this though: if you took those two quarterbacks and put them on New England, do you think they would be much more successful than
No.
being stuck with the? Well, here's the thing: Tua has no running game, doesn't have a receiver to throw to. All right. Well, now he has Waddle at least, and their defense is falling apart. The Patriots' defense is top 10. They have Bill Belichick, and they have a solid running game and a good offensive line. I think if Tua was playing, I think he would be fine, and I think Jalen Hurts would be fine. But you got a guy talking about cutting grass and cutting flowers a week ago. For Nick,
you want me to give you my realistic reason why Mac Jones didn't win the Heisman and didn't finish in the top 2? Because they didn't want to have 2 Alabama players, 1-2. It would have been just so unfair.
Yeah, but Devontae Smith got the Lifetime Achievement Award for Heisman's last year is what that
Mac
was.
Jones probably should have won the Heisman.
I heard so many people are like, dude, he was so good when he was a freshman. I'm like, yeah, well, he's not now. So
he's the one that caught the touchdown for Tua.
Yeah, 3 years worth of being great doesn't get you the Heisman.
So here's Ted's.
No, it works.
Nothing different. My thing about Diggs is, he's been great with the turnovers, but he does give up a lot of yards. I really feel like it's either going to be Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt. Those two are continuing to prove why.
Daddy, you don't give out Offensive Player of the Year anymore? You stopped giving that award out?
I didn't know what we were doing. I asked Trev when I was writing the email.
I literally said Offensive Player of the Year. I said all that stuff, Ted. He doesn't listen.
Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's Offensive Player of the Year. Or Tom Brady. There you go. An MVP for the other one. All right. Matt LaFleur. I chose Matt LaFleur over Kingsbury because of the nonsense that he had to deal with in the offseason in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers and everything that's kind of going on with that organization, injuries, whatnot, and their defense hasn't been that played well.
Here's a question for you guys before we get to our final point. Other than the MVP, which would be the toughest race to pick for an award winner this year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Bingo. Because the MVP is too ridiculous.
Because here's the thing. Najee's starting to run the ball, and the Steelers are starting to run the ball better. I think he's going to fall second. But here's the thing. Joe makes a great point. What if the Bengals falter down their thing and Mac Jones leads his team to the playoffs? Is Mac Jones going to get the wins, even though his stats might not be great? Or imagine if Chase sets the record, 90 catches, 1,500 yards, and 15 touchdowns, which will probably be all records for a rookie. You know what I mean? You got Najee might be a 1,000-yard rusher, 500-yard receiver, seven. I mean, he might have McCaffrey type numbers this year when you look at it. Especially, don't forget,
fantasy, really, he's the beast.
And then Mac Jones is going to imagine his team is the only one that makes it to the playoffs.
All right, so let's close out with our Super Bowl predictions and our conference champions.
Did you do best team yet?
There is no best team. We do top 10 rankings.
You told me to write the best team. You told me to write the best team.
I never said best team. You just thought that. Of course, you just think something and just assume it.
Well, here's your quick question. Quick run around. Who's your best team in the NFL right now? Who's number one?
LA Rams. I already said that.
Joe, same thing. Me too. All right, good. It's a quick thing. Whatever. Don't get mad at me.
Don't we do that with our rankings? Don't we make that pretty clear?
We're not doing rankings, but best team.
Can I just quick side note? Yeah, I just looked this up to verify it. Right. I mean, last year Justin Jefferson. Some people will say he got robbed by Justin Herbert for that Rookie of the Year, but the preference generally is quarterbacks, right? Quarterback over receiver. That's why Offensive Player of the Year has become the only award a receiver or a running back can actually win anymore.
Last year was last year I think it was Kelsey, right? Was it Kelsey or Devontae? I don't remember, but it was one of those two.
So my thought is watch though with the hate, they'll definitely give it to Jamar over Mac Jones.
And listen, Offensive Player of the Year could go Cooper Kupp, depending on his numbers.
I thought about Cooper Kupp, to be honest. I really thought a lot about that.
I think it's either going to be Cooper or it's going to be Jonathan Taylor.
I almost asterisk next to Henry just because obviously he's done for the year and was going to say probably going to, if we were picking who's going to win it going forward. Because I was like, is this a midseason award? This is what you get? Or is this I'm projecting so far you're on your way? Because if it's a midseason, it's Henry. If it's a who probably wins it, I would have gone Kupp.
I think this was a midseason.
These are like the midterm report cards that they send home to your kids, like what I used to do, and then I used to take them and steal them so my parents wouldn't see them and burn them in the woods. Because I used to have a C, and you knew, okay, you got a C, but you still have time to make your grade up, and you can get your grade up to a B, and then Ted would still get a C+. And
So
just
I put conference. Ted, what would be your conference matchups? Quick, and then you can give your Super Bowl.
I mean, honestly, it's really going to depend on who gets the buy, and because I think that's substantial in the NFL, especially now that there's only one team, And then, I know you're asking for a quick answer. Who's in? I mean, I don't know. Here's my thing. I don't know who's going to come out of the NFC. I really don't. I can make. I'm dreading Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl because I feel like they're a Super Bowl team.
Ted, you're on a show. Just guess. I mean,
for God's sakes, bro. Jesus, make this like rocket science.
Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can make a prediction on my podcast show. Yeah, you could do it.
You could do it, buddy.
Who are the Bills beating to get to the Rams?
Ravens.
Baltimore?
Ravens.
All right.
And the Rams are the Rams are going to beat the Cowboys in the NFC Championship.
I like that. Bold. Okay. I do like that.
So who do you have winning the Super Bowl? Do we have back-to-back teams?
He's not going to pick a winner.
He is. They have to.
Matthew Stafford, MVP, goes out top of the world. Back-to-back new quarterbacks going to new teams, back-to-back Super Bowls. We're starting a new era in 2020.
Who's the Super Bowl next season?
Where's the game?
I don't
Giant
know.
Stadium.
Rodgers or Russell? Come on over, baby.
No, I don't know. I don't know where it's at next year.
Look it up.
Is it Vegas? Or is that next year? I mean, it's the year after. Is it Vegas?
I don't know. Go look it up while I do here's my conference championship and NFC title game, or a Super Bowl, I should say. I got Tampa versus the Rams, and I got Buffalo versus Baltimore. And I was very up and down about that AFC matchup because I want to see Lamar get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl so freaking badly just so he could shut everybody up. I just think this Buffalo defense is the difference maker, causing turnovers, getting to the quarterback. Their offense, we already know what they can do. If they continue that run game, I know people want to bash it and it's not effective, but it is actually been. It's in the top 10 in rushing yards per game. So they do have some sort of rushing game. I know their quarterback plays a big, vital role in that. But that's the most talented team in the AFC. And the Rams and Tampa, I mean, you know how I've been on Tampa, but I see with all these injuries, if they are healthy, I don't know. That's another toss-up. I'm going to go with the Rams, though, because I feel like with Von Miller's addition, this team, barring any major injury, this team should be playing on Super Bowl Sunday. And I got the Rams as well, beating the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, back-to-back seasons that we see a home team, or I should say a new champion, but also winning inside their home stadium. So that's my conference championship.
Arizona Cardinals stadium is next year.
I like that. That actually makes sense. The Cardinals next year to win their home
Giants
game.
Go right back to Arizona and win.
Trev, bad news for the Yankees fans. Tim Castro got picked up in waivers by the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, can't forget about this.
I thought he was going to be my right fielder going forward for the next 10 years.
We should get rid of our right fielder. Boom. I'm just kidding. Anyways, here's Joe's. Do you have any explanations?
Joe, you're circling bandwagons, and Buffalo is going to finally take home a Super Bowl in 2021. Josh
Allen is going to – because, listen, here's the problem. If Stafford wins the Super Bowl at home, this is what all the teams are going to do. The year that you host the Super Bowl, you're going to try to go out and get a veteran quarterback. That's going to be
Arizona won't have to. They'll have Kyle Murray.
You never know. Listen, I like this. I like Big Mouth Rodgers to get to the NFC Championship game. He's very comfortable losing that, and he'll do it again this year to the Rams. Obviously, my man Lamar, he's going to win another playoff game, and then he's going to get to Buffalo, and that's going to be where he gets exposed as usual before the championship game. And then, I'm telling you, I think Josh Allen, I think he's ready for the prime time. He beats the Rams 38-21. It's a beautiful game.
This was a great game last year, if you guys remember. Now, Jared Goff was the quarterback. But
I remember.
Trev, this was the weekend when we had the Westie boys in town.
Yeah, and Cousin Vinny was a very happy man that day.
Jared was not a happy man.
He was very happy. That's what betting does sometimes, though. That's what happens. But speaking of champions, we should also give a congratulatory response to the new world champions of the MLB, the Atlanta Braves, to our friend Manny, our family, I should say, Manny, and as well, the Brian Forster, a good old friend, finally gets to see his team win an MLB World Series for the first time since 1995. So congratulations. And anytime the Houston Astros go down, especially to get shut out, nothing sweeter, baby.
I thought you were going to mention my my wiffle ball championship.
Also, big news. One of our co-hosts, part of the trio, the Joseph Aguirre's wiffle ball team. I don't know what your team name is.
The Trash Pandas.
The Trash Pandas are the champions of the wiffle ball world as well.
Joe,
They shocked the wiffle ball, kind of like the Atlanta Braves, shocked the wiffle ball world and win a championship.
We
swept them 7-3 and 8-0. Where's the scores?
Wow, Joe, you guys upset the number with the top seeds. I remember you saying.
Yeah, we beat the top seeds, and then we took out the number 2 seed Tuesday night to win.
That was big, Joe. I saw the trophy and everything.
We should post a poll. You guys are going to get very offended about this. We should post a poll. Whose ego is bigger, Joe at wiffle ball or Ted in life?
I was 10 for 15.
Whose ego? We should post that poll. Whose ego
ribbies.
is bigger right now? Is it Ted's ego or is it Joe's ego? Trev's in the middle because he's just the middle guy, and he tries to keep
me, Joe. I'm coming for you.
Soon, I'm gonna have to wear those as I come up in the next couple of weeks. But ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City, streaming on all social media platforms.
These are really good, by the way. People, it is getting cold up here. Maybe now's the time to start selling some swag.
Yeah, well,
get one of these. These are my favorite sweatshirt.
I posted about buying hoodies. I asked, and no one called. So guess what? No soup for you. Losers.
Guess what?
Get on it, boys.
I don't really need that type of apparel right now.
You will.
I will when I come up in a couple of weeks. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming on all social media platforms. You can follow us, subscribe, comment, like, or share. You can follow the Clovercrest Media page on Google, clovercrestmedia.com, or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know the real deal. It's all over social media. We'll be back next week to discuss another week of football. Soon we're going to be talking college football as well. I promise you. We're going to, because now they got the college football playoff rankings, and I got a lot to say about those new rankings. We'll talk about that next week.
And we're going to also have to talk about this pretty soon. Starting December 1st at midnight, the MLB baseball will be in a strike because there has no CBA agreement going forward. So that means
they got less than a month. We got less than a month to figure it out, so we'll have a lot to discuss moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. We are Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms once again. So comment, like, subscribe, share, or follow. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city. We're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.